Ready to ditch that image of AI being stuck in its set an alarm, play my workout playlist phase.
It's definitely time to level up our expectations.
Because today's deep dive, get this, is all about AI that can reason like never before. We're not talking, just following instructions, but actual complex problem solving. The kind that makes even like advanced math look like child's play.
It's a whole new ballgame.
And the best part, you're in the right place if you want to understand not just the what, but the how. No black boxes here. We're dissecting OpenAI's latest and greatest O1.
Which has been generating a lot of buzz, to say the least.
Oh yeah, it's not just hype though. We've actually got our hands on some intriguing research to see if the reality actually lives up to those bold claims.
It should be interesting to see how it all stacks up.
So we're going to be your guides through two key pieces of information. First up, we've got OpenAI's own report on O1. The kind with all the bold claims and, of course, those attention-grabbing charts we all secretly love.
Gotta love a good chart, right?
Right? But then we're also going to dig into excerpts from a research paper straight from the source. Let's verify step by step. Now, this one really caught our eye because it seems to be all about the actual techniques driving this whole next generation of AI reasoning.
Yeah, it's like getting a peek under the hood, which is always exciting.
Right. So OpenAI is making a huge deal about how O1 doesn't just like answer your questions, it actually thinks. They keep using this phrase chain of thought, which honestly sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
A little bit, yeah, but it's based on some pretty fascinating concepts.
But then they hit you with the benchmarks, and it's like, whoa. Okay, so O1 is apparently acing something called the AME.
Which, for those who aren't familiar, is not your average math quiz.
Not even close. This is designed for, like, the top high school math students in the entire U.S.
We're talking about the kids who go on to, like, win international math Olympiads, not just ace their algebra exams.
Exactly. And O1 is apparently scoring, get this, within the top 500 nationally. If this was a kid in school, we wouldn't be talking about college applications. We'd be talking like full ride Ivy League scholarships.
It's certainly a significant achievement in terms of AI's ability to actually grasp and then apply these really complex mathematical concepts. And the AME, it tests not just knowledge, but like logical reasoning and problem-solving skills. Those have traditionally been really difficult for AI systems to really master.
And it doesn't stop there. They're also saying that O1 is exceeding PhD-level accuracy on these intense science benchmarks. We're talking physics, biology, chemistry. Are we talking about an AI that could actually contribute to, like, real cutting-edge scientific research here?
I mean, it's definitely pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible. While O1 is clearly capable of some pretty impressive problem-solving feats, it's important to remember that benchmarks, by their very nature, are limited.
Okay, so you're saying, like, don't get too carried away just yet.
Not just yet. Look, benchmarks, they excel at measuring very specific abilities within a very controlled environment. So while these results are incredibly promising, it's more accurate to say O1 is demonstrating like real expertise in specific domains rather than claiming it has some kind of generalized human-like understanding of, all of science.
Okay, so maybe not ready to write a Nobel Prize-winning dissertation just yet.
Not quite.
But there's another layer to this whole thing, right? OpenAI keeps mentioning this O1 preview. What's the deal there?
Yeah, it's interesting. Based on the typical release patterns we see in the AI world, it seems like a safe bet to assume that O1 preview means, early access, maybe a beta testing phase of some sort.
So they're still fine-tuning it.
Most likely.
Yeah.
They're probably gathering feedback, ironing out any kinks, and, possibly even using this time to further refine O1's capabilities before they do a full public launch.
So we're getting a sneak peek, but even at this early stage, what they're choosing to show us has got to be pretty impressive.
Definitely intriguing.
Let's talk more about this whole chain of thought concept, because that's where things get really interesting. The report gives this example where O1 deciphers a code.
Yes, I was looking at that one too. Intriguing stuff.
They give it one example, like this scrambled string of letters translates to this phrase, right? And then from that one example, O1 manages to decode a whole other message.
It's pretty impressive when you see it in action.
But it's not just about the answer, right? O1 actually lays out its reasoning step by step. It's figuring out the pattern, testing its hypothesis, applying the rule. It literally felt like I was watching a detective solve a case.
That's a great analogy, and it gets to the heart of why this chain of thought approach is so significant. It's mirroring the way humans solve problems, right? We break things down into smaller, more manageable steps. We test our assumptions. We adapt based on new information. It's not just about getting to that correct answer, but the process of actually getting there.
And that's where things get even more interesting, right? OpenAI is over here making a huge deal about chain of thought and how it's this groundbreaking development, but is it really something totally brand new? Or are we talking like reinventing the wheel here?
It's a good question, and I think it's important to unpack that a bit. While OpenAI is definitely making waves with their presentation of chain of thought, it's probably more accurate to say it's an evolution rather than a revolution.
So building on what's already out there.
Exactly. It builds upon existing techniques in AI, especially in the realm of what we call reasoning frameworks. Think of it this way. OpenAI is taking these foundational concepts, refining them, optimizing them for their models, and then they're pushing the boundaries of what those refined techniques can achieve.
And this optimization seems to be paying off big time if those benchmark results are anything to go by. But then there's a twist. In the final version of O1, the report mentions that the chain of thought, it'll be hidden. So users get the answer, but not that step-by-step breakdown of how O1 actually got there.
Right, and that's a very deliberate decision on their part.
Yeah.
It is. It's strategic, you see. While seeing the chain of thought, sure, it's great for transparency, right?
Right.
But it also kind of reveals the secret sauce behind O1's reasoning.
Yeah, like giving away all their secrets.
Exactly. From a competitive standpoint, it makes sense to, keep those cards close to their chest. Plus, let's be real, for most everyday users, that super detailed reasoning, it might be a bit overkill.
Right, like who needs a lecture on computational linguistics when they're just asking their smart speaker for like a weather report?
Exactly. Sometimes you just want the answer, not necessarily the entire dissertation on how it was derived.
I feel that.
But then, for those of us who are actually fascinated by the inner workings of AI, that kind of behind-the-scenes look, that's pure gold.
Absolutely. It's like getting a backstage pass to like the world's most advanced computer brain.
Exactly. Speaking of which, let's shift gears a bit and dive into that research paper we mentioned earlier. Let's verify step by step. This might actually hold the key to understanding, like, the core techniques that are powering O1 and its frankly, kind of mind-blowing reasoning abilities.
I'm so ready to go deeper on that. What was it that really jumped out at you as like particularly noteworthy?
So this paper, it's all about training methods for AI reasoning. Specifically, they're comparing two main approaches. They call them outcome supervision and process supervision.
Okay, I'm intrigued already. Break those down for me.
Okay, so imagine you're teaching someone, let's say, how to play chess.
Right. Okay, I can picture it. Intense chess match going on.
With outcome supervision, you would basically let them play an entire game, and then only at the very end, you'd tell them if they won or lost. They might have made, like, brilliant moves or, some really terrible blunders along the way, but they wouldn't get any feedback during the actual game itself.
So it's kind of like you just see the final score without really understanding the strategy that led to it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that approach, while it's been kind of the standard in AI training for a long time, it doesn't necessarily lead to, like, a really deep understanding of the process.
Makes sense.
And that's where this whole process supervision thing comes in. So with process supervision, imagine you're right there with them during the chess game, right? You're analyzing their moves, you're pointing out any mistakes, suggesting alternatives.
Ah, so it's like having a chess coach right there with you, like guiding your every move, helping you learn from both, like your wins and your losses along the way.
Exactly. A chess coach for AI. And the researchers, they wanted to see which approach, outcome versus process, actually resulted in more reliable AI.
And by reliable, we mean...
So, not just AI that spits out the right answer, but AI that arrives at those answers through a really robust and trustworthy process. Like, we can actually understand the logic behind how it's getting there.
Okay, so to really put this to the test, they needed a challenge for these AI systems, something that would really push the limits of their reasoning abilities. That's where this math data set comes into play, right?
You got it. They needed something that went way beyond, like, basic arithmetic.
Right, like 2 + 2 equals...
Exactly. Not that. The math data set, it's specifically designed to test an AI's ability to tackle really complex multi-step problems, the kind that requires a solid grasp of, like, advanced mathematical concepts, and, importantly, the capacity for actual abstract reasoning.
So we're not talking about, like, solving for X here.
Nope.
We're talking about the kind of problems that would make even a serious math whiz be like, okay, let me think about this for a minute.
Exactly. We're talking college-level mathematics exams, like calculus, probability, number theory, the works. Problems that require not just memorizing formulas, but actually understanding the concepts behind those formulas and then applying them in like creative and often very unexpected ways.
Okay, so we've got these two training methods, outcome versus process supervision, and then we've got our proving ground, this seriously hardcore math data set. What did the researchers find? Was there, like, a clear winner?
Oh, yeah, and this is where that aha moment kicks in. The paper's core finding, the thing that really blew my mind, is that process supervision, where you're giving that AI feedback at each step of its reasoning, it led to significantly, and I mean significantly more reliable AI.
So it's not just about, like, getting the right answer. It's about getting there the right way,
Right.
cultivating, like, actual understanding within the AI.
You've got it. And that focus, that laser focus on the why behind the what, it has huge implications, especially when we start talking about AI safety and alignment.
Right, making sure these super smart AI systems are actually, on our team, not going all rogue on us.
Exactly. And, the researchers actually touch on that in the paper. They're saying if we can actually understand how an AI is thinking, if its reasoning lines up with, human logic, human values, we're much less likely to run into those unforeseen consequences we love to freak ourselves out about in sci-fi movies.
It's like that old saying, right? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. But, like, applied to the crazy, ever-evolving world of AI, we want AI that's not just smart, but aligned with our goals, our values.
Mhm.
And this whole process supervision thing, this feels like a massive step in the right direction.
Huge.
Yeah.
And it gets even cooler. The paper, it also touches on this concept called active learning. Basically, imagine the AI getting to choose which training examples it learns from.
Wait, hold on. So the AI is basically saying, okay, I've totally mastered this type of problem, but I need more practice over here. This is where I need to level up my game.
Exactly. Like having a student who can design their own curriculum,
Yeah.
right? Focusing on their weak points, the areas where they need to improve the most.
That's wild. A self-taught AI student, basically.
And the amazing thing is, the researchers, they found this active learning approach, especially when you combine it with that process supervision we were talking about.
Yeah.
It led to way faster, way more efficient AI learning. Like, they figured out how to turbocharge the learning process for these systems.
This is all starting to feel pretty meta, don't you think? We've got AI learning how to learn more effectively. Someone get this AI a graduation cap.
Mhm.
But let's bring it back to O1 for a minute. We've got all this mind-blowing research happening behind the scenes, and then we've got O1 out here, just crushing benchmarks, turning heads with this whole chain of thought thing. But are these two things connected? Is it possible O1 is secretly using these same techniques they're describing in the research?
It's a great question. And while OpenAI doesn't explicitly confirm it, it's very, very likely that the techniques they use to build O1 to train it are based on this kind of cutting-edge research. And remember we were talking about O1 just seeming to get better and better with more training, more thinking time?
Right, like it's hitting the gym for its brain.
Exactly. And that lines up perfectly with what the research found about process supervision.
Yeah.
Right. The more feedback the AI gets at each step, the more refined its reasoning becomes. So, yeah, I think it's a safe bet to say O1 is benefiting from a very similar approach.
It's like giving O1 that ultimate brain workout, constantly pushing its limits, and then boom, just like in the research, it comes back even stronger, even sharper.
And here's the kicker. The part that really blew my mind when I read the report. They said O1's performance, it just keeps improving with more training, more thinking time. If that keeps up, if those gains are really cumulative, we're not just talking about incremental progress here. We're talking about a potential exponential leap in AI reasoning ability.
Okay, let's pause for a second. Let that really sink in. We're talking about being on the edge of an era where AI can potentially solve these insanely complex problems, right? Problems that have stumped even the most brilliant minds throughout human history. So the big question is, what does that mean for the future of, well, everything? What happens when AI can contribute to major scientific breakthroughs, optimize like incredibly complex systems, maybe even, dare I say, push the boundaries of human creativity?
It's a question that really captures the imagination, doesn't it? We're stepping into this uncharted territory, a world where AI isn't just a tool, but a potential partner, a collaborator, pushing the limits of what's possible in every field you can think of.
No doubt about it. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think we're left with this sense of excitement, of anticipation for what the future holds for AI reasoning. We dove deep into OpenAI's super intriguing new model, O1, and its impressive chain of thought abilities. But I think even more importantly, we pulled back the curtain and took a look at the incredible research that's driving these advancements.
Research that's not just about making AI smarter, but also more transparent, reliable, and honestly, more in line with our values.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, it's not just about building a smarter AI, it's about building an AI we can actually trust. And if this research is any indication, I think it's safe to say the future of AI reasoning, it's looking pretty bright. If you're as fascinated by this stuff as we are, and we know you are, you'll find links to both the OpenAI report and that Let's Verify step-by-step paper in the show notes. Happy exploring, everyone!